This is Audible.
Audible Studios presents Before Us, written by Jane E. James, narrated by Sarah Kantz and Gabrielle Nellis-Payne.
Chapter 1. Rachel. Then. The tang of wet grass fills my nostrils as I run ghost-like across Stamford Meadows in the thin grey morning light. As I blink away the perspiration that has trickled into my eyes, I can still taste the bubbles of last night's celebratory champagne. My nose wrinkles in annoyance at the reminder of all those empty calories, so I force myself to run faster, as penance. My trainers pound the winding concrete path while adrenaline pumps through my veins. Faster, always faster. Why do you punish yourself so much? Who exactly are you running away from? These are questions AD frequently asks me. I greet the people I typically see on my morning run with a perfunctory good morning. The portly, retired gentleman and his grey-whiskered Labrador, who is also ancient. Sadly, I imagine that when the dog passes away, he will too. The odd couple, as I refer to them in my head, who jog together, presumably for company, but never speak, even to each other, let alone me. They are still a part of my morning ritual, though, and, as such, I look out for them every day. People who know me will attest to the fact that I place a high value on routine. Then there is the soon-to-be-divorced guy in his mid-30s, a jogger like me, who tries to make eye contact to strike up a conversation. I'm too smart for that, though. As a mostly unlikable, so I've been told, woman, I wonder what these individuals think of me. My acquaintances, I don't call them friends, would have you believe that I'm the luckiest woman alive. I have an adoring husband, 2 perfectly behaved children, a beautiful home in a sought-after location, and a fantastic job to return to when the children are older. A strange chill travels over my pale, cold-to-touch skin as I remember Adie's words from last night. "Why aren't you happy, Rachel, when you have everything you could possibly want?" I recall that his tone had been one of disappointment rather than accusation. My gaze lingered on his dark, unreadable features as I asked, "What about what I don't want?" A strange expression flashed across his face then, followed by a familiar lip tightening and an unsettling pulse in his chiseled jaw. His features were neutral when he next looked up again. His eyes, as usual, were empty of emotion. He is right, of course. Most women would love to be in my position, on the surface, that is. However, beneath it, lies and secrets are as much a part of my marriage as our 2 children, Beatrice and Archie. As someone who has been described as unconventionally attractive, I am too tall, skinny, and sharp-featured to be viewed as feminine, but men, perversely, find me attractive. They claim to see me as something of a mystery, but that's simply not true. When you consider that I am driven by a desire for routine and order, I am rather dull, and I become highly strung when things do not go my way. If every day were the same, I would finally understand what it is to be happy. I only acknowledge to myself in the dead of night that I have turned into a cold wife, a distant mother, and an indifferent friend, and that it is me I am running away from. I slow to a walk when I turn the corner, and a familiar row of Georgian townhouses comes into view. With its Regency Georgian exterior, the Grade 2 listed Rutland Terrace is an iconic example of grandeur in the heart of Stamford. My eyes sweep over the timeless elegance of the buildings, which have breathtaking views of the undulating meadows. But as I approach the shiny black door to number 13,